Josh said, I live in East Boston, all the way across the harbor. I moved to East Boston. No, that's not how I start. So let's go back a little bit. I didn't grow up in East Boston. I grew up in the suburbs. I have a big Irish Catholic family. By big, I mean obese. Like they're all terribly. I moved to East Boston 20 years ago. I was pregnant. I was alone. I needed someplace cheap to live, and that was East Boston. And I've stayed all these years because I committed to the Instagram handle East Boston Cheryl, and I felt like moving would be confusing to my 27 followers. My son is here. He's the blonde kid. And when he was growing up in East Boston, it was a very different place. I mean, now it's gorgeous, right? Have you been down to the Harbor Walk?
Yeah.
All these beautiful buildings, a nice view of downtown. And the joke in East Boston is like, we used to pay nothing to look at the beautiful downtown, and downtown had paid a lot to look at our shitty little. But when he was growing up, that whole area, it was just an empty lot. It was gravel, it was cat food inexplicably, it was like broken glass, broken dreams, and a big fence. And we would walk by, there was this one summer, I remember so vividly, it was this a dead raccoon just sitting there. We would walk by and he was like, would you look at that? Would you look at that? He loved it so much. So we'd walk by every day. If we weren't there, if we didn't go by naturally, he'd be like, Mommy, can we go look at the raccoon? And I was like, you were kind of rude at breakfast, you know what I mean? He was like, Mommy, please. I said, I'll be better. Okay. So we'd go check it out, you know, every day getting whiter and whiter, just like East Boston. The whole time he was growing up, we didn't have a car. So we took the T everywhere. And I liked that because I wanted him to be streetwise in a way that like I hadn't been as a kid from the suburbs, you know what I mean? So all my friends' kids were in the back of minivans, you know, they're eating their organic yogurt, they're listening to Kids Bop with their mom, like so wholesome. And we were on the T, you know, a million bags. You know, he has his swim team bag and his school bag, and I have my work bag and my gym bag. I never went to the gym, but you know, I had to carry the bag. And that's, you know, and we would see the same people every day, the same commuters, the same homeless people. And other people would be like, other parents would be like, hey, don't talk to strangers. I always like, talk to them, you know, say hello. See the same people every day. You know, obviously don't get in their van. Don't have a sexual relationship with them. He was like, I'm 5. It was a sexual relationship. I was like, we talked about that. But I remember this one time, he was like 8 at this point, and we got on the tee, we're going to swim team practice. And there was a guy who was like kind of passed out, right? He has the nods. You know the guy, right? He's holding this huge coffee, no lid. And I was like, that guy is gonna spill his coffee everywhere. It's gonna go all over our many bags. And my kid, he says, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. I said, honestly, like we should sit somewhere else. He goes, I bet you $1. This guy doesn't drop his coffee. I'm a betting woman, I'll take that bet. So we're on the tee, like laser focused. You know what I mean? Staring at the guy. We go an extra stop. We're on the blue line, we go to Bowdoin. No one goes to Bowdoin. We go to Bowdoin to stay. We're like watching this guy. Bumps. You know, abrupt stops. Jumping up and down. Does not spill a drop. This cup is intact. We get off the train and I'm like, I can't believe it, you know? I didn't spill a drop. My kid plucks the $1 right out of my pocket. He goes, hey, never been against a junkie. 8 years old. 8 years old. All right. I said to myself, streetwise, but where are we going, you know? Years later, he joined the rowing team in his high school. And I was like, you should get out there, you know, join a club, have some fun. He said, practices at 6 a.m. on Saturday. I said, not that kind of fun. We still didn't have a car, so we had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning, we get the first train out of Maverick Station. We take the blue line to Bowdoin, again with the Bowdoin. No one goes there except us. We come up, we get on a blue bike, you know, the Hubway things. go down Cambridge Street, pop on the Esplanade. We're pedaling our hearts out. Now Sam, my son, he doesn't want to be late for practice. That's the kind of kid he is. I am hurrying because I know this is surcharge. And I'm not interested in paying that surcharge. By interested, I mean that charge is not going to go through on my credit card. So I'm like, we better hurry. And he's a little bit ahead of me. He stops, he comes back, circles back. He goes, hey, there's a guy who's passed out on the path. And I'm like, did you try to? He goes, come on, we got to call 911. I was like, of course. We have to call 911. I was like, that's exactly what I was going to say that too. I was going to say that. We should call 911. He was like, right. So I call 911, and I'm like, hey, I'm on the Esplanade, it's 5:30 in the morning. Just want you to know, I got up really early. And she was like, okay, so what happened when you tried to wake up? I didn't try to wake up. I said, I didn't try to wake up. And she was like, okay, whatever. Are you a middle-aged white woman? That's so weird. So she said, hang out there for a bit. The paramedics will come. I was like, so dark, I get this bike, you know what I mean? It's a rental. She was like, really? And I was like, no, not really. Anyway, so I was waiting, and then my son says, well, I gotta get to practice. And I said, it's so dark out though. And he said, I'll be fine. And that's not what I was worried about. Good luck though. I said, yeah, get out there. And so he took off, and it's dark, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, the guy's probably fine, right? He's probably exhausted. Just like I am. We probably have to get up at 6 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning to get his kid to practice, you know what I mean? Biking, so tired, he just lay down for a bit. So I go over and I was like, hey, buddy, you all right? He wasn't all right, he was dead. That's what happened. Now, a lot of things happened after that. But let me bottom line it for you. I did eventually get the bike back. I go to pick up my kid at practice, and I said, hey, and he said, that was the most amazing practice. I wasn't going to leave with that, but all right. He said it was really great to get in the water. I said, okay, well, while you were practicing, I found out that the guy that we found was dead. And he goes, you know what? I thought so, because we rode by, and I saw all these lights, police, fire, paramedics. He goes, and I thought to myself, either that guy was dead, or he got up and attacked my mother and killed her. He was like, but truth be told, it was a great practice, so we just kept going. You know what I mean? He was like, streetwise, what was the goal? Eventually, he went off to college, eventually. What college? Thanks for asking. An Ivy League college. Did she create this whole stand-up comedy routine so she could stand in front of a whole bunch of strangers and tell them that her kid went to an Ivy League college? And the answer is yes. So my friends were worried. You know what I mean? My son and I were very close. My friends were worried that I would maybe fall apart when he left. A lot of people do. It's a big, big transition. I think what they didn't fully recognize is, it's like that was 18 and a half years of cooking, laundry. And for him, it was 18 and a half years of dead raccoons, dead bodies. Oh my God, I didn't even tell the other story. Oh my God, we have to circle back, you guys. Wait. Oh my God, I skipped right ahead. Isn't that terrible? It's my first time doing 20 minutes, so I'm gonna forget some stuff. Okay, here's what happened in the second part of the story. Before he went to the Ivy League college, forget you know that part. So what happened was the pandemic hit, and we still didn't have a car. And then I hurt my knee, and honestly, talk to me about that after the show. I could talk about it for hours. My knee hurt. I couldn't bike anymore. Going through Maverick Square, always challenging. You're always running a risk of some kind of infection. You know what I mean? I always knew that. The pandemic hit, and I was like, it's a little too much. So I decided to buy a car. I buy a car, I go on Carvana.com, and They have a 7-day money-back guarantee. Like, I'm nervous about buying a car on the internet. You know what I mean? And honestly, I've lived a life of questionable financial decisions. And I was like, I don't want to make another one, but they have this guarantee. I talked to my super practical friend Karen. I was like, what do you think? She said, it's fine. I said, great. So I bought a Kia Soul off the internet. Showed up one day. I was in a virtual staff meeting. Showed up. This amazing woman took it out the car carrier. She with the drill. She put my plates on there. I was like, oh my God, we have a car. It was silver. It was gorgeous. It was a stick shift because I like to work the stick. It's a joke I like to tell in front of my son. Just immediately goes into a coma. Anyway, we went to Target, so exciting. We drove to Worcester, oh my God, what a thrill. Then we go to the Middlesex Fells, we go for a hike. What a day. Gorgeous day, like today, you know what I mean? It's bright, it's happy, the weather's nice, there's a lot of people there, but not so many, you know? We're out for like a couple hours. Sunset, we head back to the parking lot. The car is not there. Where's the car? Have we lost it or something? Is that what we saw there? But also like, you know, let's see it. And he looks at his phone, he says, no. We're in the wrong parking lot. Oh. Okay, so we go for a little walk, we walk a little bit more, we get to the other parking lot. There's all these people around. And I was like, excuse me, let me get to my car, I just bought it. And the car's not there either. Where is the car? And I said, seriously, did we lose the car? Because again, it feels like something that could happen. And he's looking at his phone. And like slowly we became aware that something has happened. There's people milling about. There's a certain electricity in the air. There's a smell, maybe. And then you see the guy, he's holding a clipboard. And that's how you know something has happened, because you don't see a man with a clipboard unless something has happened. So I say to my son, hey, who is that guy with a clipboard? And he says, you. I say, honey, you. He goes, you were the parents. I mean, always with that, you know what I mean? Fine, I said. I go over to the guy and I'm like, hey, has something happened? Even though I know something has because he has a report. I go, hey, has something happened? He says, oh my God, yes, a car caught on fire. I said, oh my God. He said, I know, it's crazy. This car just burst into flames. He said, honestly, thank God it happened today. Because tomorrow's my son's birthday. I took the weekend off. My wife would have been furious if I got called in tomorrow. Because that's the party. But today, and I was like, oh my God. He said, you know how wives are? I said, yeah, I don't. And I was like, yeah. And then we just sat there for a second, like thinking about it, car fire. You know what I mean? And then I said, you know, I was part two. He said, Toyota RAV4? No. Relief. I said, Kia Soul. He goes, that's the one. That's the one that burst into flames. Again, a lot of things happen after that. But one thing that happened was that when I got home, finally, I called Kia and I was like, hey, the car burst into flames, but fortunately, you have that 7-day money-back guarantee, so I'd like to work on that. And they said, if you look at the fine print, you have to return it in the condition you bought it, as a burned-out shell. Okay, I said, could I get a discount on another car? And they said, no. So that was the end of that story. Now we're going to go back. If you remember before, remember I told you to forget about the fact that my kid goes to an Ivy League school. Don't forget it anymore. Remember it now. He goes off to college. My friends are worried. Am I going to lose my mind? Am I going to be so lonely? No. I'm fine. You know what I mean? It was a new life. It was freedom. There was no more cooking. There was no more laundry. It was great. I learned how to be a Reiki healer. I have magic hands, so see me after the show for that. I started dating, so that's my next comedy special. A lot happened there. The most fun thing I did is I went on Craigslist. I bought a boat for $750. I put all of our stuff in storage. I moved aboard. I called my son to tell him about it. He wasn't taking my calls at that point. I said, fine, be surprised when you come home. And he was. Let me tell you about the boat. It's called the Just In Case, which is what my ex-boyfriend used to call me. It's an older boat. It was made in the 80s. Like me, like past its prime was still sexy. Which is what I want my son's friends to think about me. Sleeping on the boat is really soothing. It's very dark. There's a lot of rocking. It's like being in the womb of a mother who loves you. It's a new experience for me. So, don't take it for granted. You can imagine everyone who lives on the marina is crazy. And I have affinity for crazy, so that really works for me. Next door, there's Alice. I call her the spitter. Every time I talk to her, she just says, like, hold up, spits into the ocean. And I said to one of my neighbors, I love the spitter, right? She goes, what? Turns out, Alice only spits when she's talking to me. Why? She's salivating, like, I am attractive. Anyway. Speaking of that, there's Dan. Dan lives a few boats down. When I first moved on, Dan came over, and he was like, hey, did Dave tell you that you have to pump the bilge out every day by hand, otherwise the boat will sink? And I said, wow, who's Dave? And he said, Dave, the guy you bought the boat from? I said, oh. And I said, what's the bilge? And he said, God, you don't know anything. I said, no, I sure don't. He took a deep drag out the cigarette. And he goes, they're good looking. I'll look. Right on, Dan. What's happened since I lived on the boat? One thing that happened, because I like to have people down there, because it's fun to live on a boat. It's fun to have people down for drinks. You should all come, honestly. I'm kidding. And people are nervous. They get on the boat and they say, they don't want to get on the boat. They say, have you ever fallen in? And for a long time the answer was no. But then what happened was, I had some people down there and they were like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't know how to get on the boat. And I was like, it's so easy. I'll show you. You just confidently step on the platform. I don't know what it's called. And then you walk across it like this. And as I did that, I felt right in the water. Right in the water. You know, I was wearing like a heavy sweater that just put me down. You know what I mean? And I was wearing some sneakers again. Ooh, the weight on that. And everyone was like, oh my God. Now Dan and the other guys who lived on the marina, they came over. And they said, you know what the problem is? You don't have like the non-stick stuff in your platform and everything. I was like, Dan, I'm not even selling water. You know, and you're like, let me get out here and then we can do some problem solving. Now, another time I was out there, I did get out, if you're like, because obviously I'm standing here. But if you can imagine, because I was like, do I have the upper body strength to get out of the water? And the adrenaline, the fear of not being able to get out and being surrounded by all these guys in the marina talking to me about non-skid surfaces was like enough to get me out. This other time, I was putting up string lights. And the thing is, a lot of things are wrong with the boat when you buy it for $750, you know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, it must be nice, you can come up from work and like go for a ride. And I'm like, $750, you know what I mean? I've been home for a few hours, so I hope it's still floating. When I met the man that I'm dating, Seamus, on one of our first dates, I said, I live in a boat that I bought for $750. And he was like, $750,000. And then he came by for a drink, and you can imagine. So there's a lot of things that don't work. I mean, electricity, yes, sometimes. Running water, on occasion. But I was like, let me get the solar-powered string lights up there. You know what I mean? Let me get some nautical theme pillows. Let's get the vibe right, and then we can worry about the living conditions. That's what I decided. So I'm out there. I'm putting up the string lights. I'm getting an arm workout like nobody's business. You know what I mean? I was like, Michelle Obama arms. I hope my fitness app is tracking this. then I hear a splash. Oh my God, my car keys have fallen into the water. Now I have another set of car keys, but where are they? Are they with my kid in college? He's not answering my phone calls. Are they with Dan? They're leaving there when he was helping me. I don't know where they are, so I have to get them out. You know what I mean? I look down and I see they're right there, and I said, there's only one way I'm gonna get these keys back, so I jump in the water. And as I jumped in the water, I realized there probably is only one way I'm gonna get these keys back, jumping in the water. I got out, I dried myself off, I hopped on my bike. I rode over to Home Depot. And I think they're gonna be impressed with this. I bought myself a magnets, which is surprisingly affordable. I bought a bunch of duct tape. Duct tape? Yeah, electrical tape. I came back, I tied the magnet to a pole with a lot of tape. I didn't want it to fall in. I felt like that was the obvious thing that was gonna happen. And I put the contraption in the water and figured the magnet would attract the keys, right? And as I did that, I was engrossed in a fantasy about how much treasure I was going to find. And how that would certainly lead to a new career as a treasure hunter, just getting stuff that people dropped in the water, plus other things, who knows, you know what I mean? Probably there's a reality show, I'm sure. And then what happened is I tripped over the string lights I was putting up, and the pole, and the magnet just slowly fell into the water, and I was like, no! And it splashed in there, and I could see it, it's right there. And I was like, there's probably only one way I can get those, so just jump in. But I didn't. And then I thought, the only thing I can do is jump on my bike, go to Home Depot, buy a big piece of metal to attract the magnet. Honestly, I'm so tired, you know? I ended up just taking a nap, and then I paid someone $400 to make me some keys. That's all I have for you tonight. Thanks so much.